Cynthia, for Senator Panaccio.
Senator, since 1972, no Republican has won a U.S. Senate race in New Jersey. How do you account for the party's failures in New Jersey Senate races?
Message. When you go to the mushy middle, when you try to be Democrat-light, you don't give people a reason to vote for you. My principled message of low taxes, less government, peace and security through strength, and the encouragement and protection of individual and economic freedoms is cloaked around 4 points where Republicans can win in the state. First, go to my website, A Promise and Vision for New Jersey. First and foremost, we give people a reason to vote for you instead of a reason to vote against the other person. Second, then we tell you how big the Democrats are. Third, we remind people in this blue state that the Democrat Party that exists now is not their father's Democrat Party. That party made a sharp left-hand turn in the 1960s and has never looked back. Joe Lieberman was asked why he ran as an independent for the U.S. Senate, and he says, "I choose to run because I did not want the party that inspired me in 1960, the party of John Kennedy, to be continually hijacked by an element that is so far out of the American mainstream." Those are the Republicans that we can attract. Those are the Democrats. Those are the independents. That message that we're talking about is an innately American-spirited message, not Republican or
Congressman
Democrat.
Zimmer?
I think that the electorate in New Jersey is finally understanding that what we need to elect is a fiscal conservative. They've seen how the government in the state of New Jersey has brought on a terrible fiscal crisis, run into a brick wall as a result of too much taxing, too much borrowing, too much spending. And they see they have an ineffective senator who has made as his trademark bringing home the bacon, yet we get less back for our tax dollar than any other state in the country. If we present an alternative of keeping the money in New Jersey in the first place,
I have to move it along, and Dr. Sabrin.
The American people need tax relief. The government is too large. The government oversees too many things. In fact, Jim Florio, in one of his last budget messages, said that government tries to do too much. But that hasn't stopped them from trying, both in New Jersey and at the federal level. We have a government that's literally out of control, with so much debt, so much spending, and then the printing of money, which bases our currency. That's the problem we're facing in America today, and I'm the only one up here who has a track record of more than 30 years of warning about this in print, in speeches, and in television, radio, and interviews.
And your rebuttal, Senator Panaccio.
Use New Jersey itself as an example. We have Democrats in control that have overtaxed, overborrowed, and overspent ourselves almost into bankruptcy. And their answer, John Corzine's answer, is to overtax, overborrow, and overspend by selling our highways and our parkways and by increasing our tolls. Hasn't worked in New Jersey, is definitely not going to work down in Washington. People are overtaxed, overborrowed, overspent. Time to stop.
Bob, your question for Mr. Zimmer.
Since 9/11, life here in this country has changed greatly. You notice it especially if you have to go through an airport. But there are other ways as well. Do you think that there is a fair balance between private rights and protection of privacy and security for the country, or has it tipped too far toward the security area?
I think it's the job of a United States Senator to make that balance with respect to every single piece of legislation that comes before Congress. And I do believe that given the fact that we have new kinds of technology, new kinds of communication, and a different kind of enemy that engages in what's called asymmetrical warfare, where we don't have the same kinds of intelligence challenges that we used to have, and we have, I believe, a responsibility to seek out the people who intend to do us harm and to wipe them out before they can get to us. We can do that, I firmly believe, while protecting the rights of individual Americans to their own personal communications and to their own realm of privacy. It's difficult to do, and I don't think bumper stickers on either side of the issue are enough to resolve this. It's a balancing of every piece of legislation.
Mr. Sabrin.
There has been a tipping point in the government's oversight of the American people. Judge Andrew Napolitano of Fox News has written 3 books about how the Constitution is being shredded in Washington, D.C. in the name of security. Benjamin Franklin, one of the wise founders, said, "We cannot give up liberty for security because we will wind up with neither." That is the lesson of what the founders gave us. Do not give up liberty for security. We have to make sure that the federal government follows the Fourth Amendment, the Fifth Amendment, all the amendments. The problem we have in Washington is there are too many people compromising with the Bill of Rights, and I will not compromise with the Bill of Rights.
Senator Panaccio.
I'm sure our founding fathers, when they were writing the Constitution, they weren't thinking of giving those same rights and privileges and freedoms to terrorists. Terrorists don't respect our laws. They don't respect our freedoms. They want to use our constitutional rights, quite frankly, against us. The highest priority as an elected official that I have is to make sure that our citizens are protected and that they are safe.
Your rebuttal, Mr. Zimmer.
Well, I believe that in this country, we pride ourselves in our freedom and our constitutional liberties, and the reason why we're fighting an enemy that despises those liberties is to preserve them. It's a very difficult challenge. We are at war, and when countries are at war, civil liberties are at risk. I think we have got to pursue this war against terror, this war against those who wish to destroy us in an aggressive way, but we can do it without interfering with the rights of American citizens.
Cynthia, your next question is directed to Mr. Sabrin.
Professor Sabrin, you call yourself the front runner in this race, yet the only independent poll puts you in the single digits. Is that a legitimate claim, and aren't you misleading your supporters?
That poll was not a statistically valid poll. It was a poll of 180 people. We don't know if those people who were polled were actually Republican primary voters. So we don't know if the voters that were chosen made any sense for the poll. As far as being the front runner, I've been running hard since the beginning of this campaign. I've been all over the state with a message warning about the fiscal crisis facing us. I've been talking about the policies that got us here. I'm the only one talking about the most important domestic issue economically, and that is the continued depreciation of our dollar, which has enormous implications for our economy. I'm the only one talking about the unfunded liabilities over the next 75 years, which is going to bankrupt this nation. So to be a front runner means you have to be a leader on these issues. I've been leading on these issues for more than 3 decades. I've been promoting free enterprise, limited government, and civil liberties for 4 decades since I became a Republican in 1969. I have a track record second to none of anyone up here or anyone else in the state of New Jersey.
Senator Panaccio.
Poll was nonsense, and Murray knows it was nonsense. The only poll that counts is the poll on June 3rd. I've run and I've won as a freeholder. I was one of 14 candidates, and I won. I ran for the Assembly, and I've won. As a matter of fact, I'm current state senator. I've won 6 elections in a row. When I won my state senate seat, I won by a margin of almost 2 to 1. In Morris County, where I'm known a little bit better, I got 70% of the vote. So I'm a proven winner. My idea of polls really, they don't matter. The poll that matters to me is the poll on June 3rd.
Congressman Zimmer, your response?
Well, I was pleased when I saw that I was running ahead in that poll. I'd rather be ahead than not. But I'm not going to take any comfort in that, because I have an obligation to reach out to the Republican electorate, and then after that the general electorate, and explain to them why I'm the best alternative to Frank Lautenberg, why my proven record of achievement in the area of fiscal responsibility makes me the strongest candidate. I think I'm well on my way to doing that, but it was nice that when I hardly got into the race, I was already recorded as the front runner.
Dr. Sabrin, you have a rebuttal.
Yeah, I appreciate Joe mentioning that he won 6 elections, but that's like people in the Soviet Union saying they won 6 elections. It's not a competitive district. We are now in a very competitive race here in this GOP primary. We will see who wins on June 3rd. I think I will win for a very simple reason. The message that I've been advocating and articulating for more than 3 decades all over this country is attracting donors from 49 out of the 50 states. People know what's at stake in this election, whether America will be a freer country in the future or a less free country, whether we'll be more involved in nation building or we'll be less involved in nation building.